Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Tuesday, June 5th edition of the Wake Up Today. Rest in peace, baby Trump. A woman has stabbed her, or stabbed him, in the streets during the British protest that went on today. We're going to play the audio of that for you. Also, Donald Trump again, at it again. Again, if you would, Meghan Markle. Steven Crowder has pretty much been cleared by YouTube. Empire not being Jesse Small back for the final season, and we'll talk about Joe Biden as well as some Homophobic stuff. All right, so yeah, pretty much a woman today at the protests that were going on of President Trump in Britain stabbed baby Trump. So this is kind of funny. Obviously, if you haven't heard, they have this big inflatable diaper Trump that they like to fly during these protests in Britain. We're going to play the video for you this in a minute. The woman appeared to be bleeding as she walked away after stabbing. The video ends with her appearing to be searched by police. And yes, we do have a video. We're going to play for the audio. I'm doing my custom video narration here. She's saying, I'm going in. She's like a few feet away. And boom. There she goes. There she goes.
That's a disgrace. It's a national disgrace. The President of the United States is the best president ever. Shame on you. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Done it, guys. Yeah, baby. Hey, you better go check out. I think Donald Trump's balloon is not very well. I think it's going down rapidly for a reason. It's going down, baby. I'm bleeding quite badly, though.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, she's bleeding. Yeah, she's bleeding. She's being searched by the police and she's bleeding. So it looks like baby Trump did not go down without a fight. I don't know how you are bleeding when you hold the knife in your hand. Like when you're the one doing the stabbing, not normally you're the one who ends up not bleeding. But again, just some people out there, the type of people who would stab a balloon would, like those are, again, not always the smartest of people. I don't know if she stabbed with a knife, but it was some sort of sharp object, according to the Scotland Yard. So yeah, again, the son there with that audio of this woman capturing herself bursting this Trump baby blimp. And people are just looking at her. It's so funny. People are just looking at her as she's like saying, oh, look at that Trump going down. It's going down. People are like, what is wrong with you, lady? Yeah, again, I don't know if she's British. I think she sounded British, but I don't know. Again, it's not really. I'm not getting too worked up about this, but I just think it's incredibly funny that this woman decided to do this. There's something about it. Like, I don't have any particular feelings for the baby Trump thing. I'm not like, oh, the baby Trump thing. It's so cool. It's so powerful. It's such a rebellion against the president here. But I mean, again, it's funny, guys. It really is funny that this whole situation is that the fact that this woman decided to do this. Yeah, so bad news though, not only for baby Trump, but for people in Cuba, or U.S. people who want to go to Cuba. The Treasury Department on Tuesday imposed harsh new travel restrictions on visits to Cuba by U.S. citizens, including a ban on educational and recreational trips categorized as people-to-people travel, which have been used by thousands of Americans even before the Obama administration loosened the rules. And you'll never guess why they did it. Take a guess. It's Venezuela, folks. That's right. Steve Mnuchin saying Cuba continues to play a destabilizing role in the Western Hemisphere, providing a foothold in the region, propping up U.S. adversaries in places like Venezuela and Nicaragua, fomenting instability and undermining the rule of law, and suppressing democratic processes. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin said, I mean, you guys are the ones literally trying to do a coup. Okay? You guys are literally trying to do a coup. So I wouldn't be talking about that too much. It kills the people-to-people category, which is the most common way for the average American to travel to Cuba, said Colin Laverty, head of Cuba Educational Travel, one of the largest Cuba travel companies in the U.S., told the AP. And I mean, I really love this. It's such a telling explanation, such a telling show of where American empire is today. The fact that we are now relying on Cuba, a country that literally cannot boil its water, or has to boil its water, they can't get reliably clean water. Like, they're not a powerhouse country, folks. I mean, they have a good health system relatively for the money that they have, but they've just been so stifled by crippling U.S. economic station. They really haven't been able to get on the ground. But things so far, I mean, it's not completely communist, but the fact is they have a slightly good system. I mean, didn't they invent a drug to cure AIDS or something? I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did. Yeah, they did, didn't they? Yeah, so like that on its own to show that Cuba is not hopeless, but the fact that they have gross military power, they're just more powerful than the U.S., just shows you the fact that there are just a host of idiotic people managing this U.S. government right now, and especially the fact that they just decided to pick Juan Guaido to do this Venezuela coup. It's failed so spectacularly, and now they're saying, "Oh, who can we blame? Cuba, one of the poorest countries in the region. They're the ones fomenting instability with their super-powered military. Oh my God, what it was? We'd be afraid. No, you're just stupid. Like that's the reason. Like if we had." I would be a little nostalgic for the good old days here. If we had Dick Cheney in there, this thing would be over a month ago. Like literally, Nicolas Maduro's head would be on a spike. Like that's if we were back at our old form. But no, things like we're sundowning. We are not exactly hitting our stride at this moment, and things are showing. We're starting to blame Cuba. No. Like the people who just running this failed at every level, and it's hilarious to watch. All right. Next up, Trump continues to feud with Meghan Markle. President Trump has once described Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, as nasty towards him. After previously denying he'd ever used the word nasty to describe her, saying, quote, "She was nasty to me, and that's okay for her to be nasty. It's not good for me to be nasty to her, and I wasn't," Trump told Piers Morgan in a Good Morning Britain interview. According to Morgan's tweets, Trump was taped calling the Duchess nasty in an earlier interview with The Sun, though he later denied her that. Literally, even though tweeting out a video of him calling Markle nasty. So that was very amusing. He also claimed he's spoken to Markle's husband, Prince Harry, contradicting reports suggesting the prince had snubbed him. I congratulated him. By the way, he probably did snub him. Prince Harry did. He said, "I congratulate him. I think it's terrific. I think he's terrific. He couldn't have been nicer. He's a great guy," President said of the prince. Trump also told Morgan that Britain's National Health Service would not be on the table in U.S.-UK trade negotiations, despite demanding the exact opposite in a news conference with Prime Minister Theresa May earlier Tuesday. Yeah, so I don't see it being on the table, Trump reportedly told Morgan. That's something I would not consider part of the trade. That's not the trade, I think he said. So, yeah, Piers Morgan getting one of his favorite things, which is a rare opportunity to absolutely kiss Trump's ass, and he is milking it. Every tweet from the interview is breaking. Like, yeah, enjoy your like 12-hour publicity orgy, Chris Piers. Just enjoy it while it happens. I don't know why I called you just Chris there. It was really unintentionally insulting, and I'm proud of myself for that. Anyway, now from one blundering pro-Trump political operative to another, Jacob Wohl. He admitted in a story published on Tuesday that he had to plan to influence political betting markets with hoaxes, a month after lying to the Daily Beast and claiming he had never been involved in such a plan. In May, the Daily Beast reported on Wohl's business plan to raise money for the Arlington Center for Public Political Intelligence, a group claim that would make bleep up about Democratic politicians to influence political betting markets. At the time, Wohl had become notorious for his failed attempts to smear Robert Mueller and Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg with sexual assault allegations. It says he had not created that plan. He had not tried to smear them to influence the betting markets, which is hilarious. The Washington Post story on Tuesday, though, in that story, Wohl admitted that he had created the fundraising plan, including the portion about influencing betting markets with hoaxes. This is far from the first time Wohl has been caught in a lie. In March, Wohl was caught faking death threats against himself and reporting them to the police, which is a possible crime. So yeah, it's from Will Sommer, the Daily Beast there. Yes, Jacob Wohl at it again with a fury. Shout out to Jacob Wohl being one of the best things. Like, you can't do a Machiavellian scheme if you are literally stupid. Like, it's pretty hard, and Jacob Wohl proves that every day. So YouTube, they've come out with their verdict, I guess you could say, on Steven Crowder and his derogatory remarks about Vox host Carlos Maza. They say they did not violate any of his policies. In a series of tweets on Tuesday, the video said that after an in-depth review of Maza's claims against Crowder, it found that Crowder's words were hurtful but not in violation of his rules. As an open platform, it's crucial for us to allow everyone, from creators to journalists to late-night TV hosts, to express their opinions within the scope of our policies, YouTube wrote. Opinions can be deeply offensive, but if they don't violate our policies, they'll remain on our site. The platform also said that even though the video in question remains on the site, it doesn't mean that it endorses or supports that viewpoint. YouTube also said it's evaluating other aspects of Crowder's channel. In the meantime, in a series of tweets of his own, Moz said YouTube's decision was a result of absolutely bat bleep policy that gives bigots free license. The decision comes after Moz pointed out instances where Crowder called him an anchor baby, a lispy queer, and a Mexican. Crowder published a quote-unquote apology video. If this is the one I was watching today. It's not very apologetic, folks. Oh, here it is. Yeah. All right, we are sorry. I thought that was playing, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, he's just kind of going. This is here he is.
Socialists offended by the Che Guevara "Socialism is for Figs" T-shirt.
Yeah, so he's pretty much making a joke about his T-shirt there, and he has a whole like prop list because he's again supposedly a comedy show. Gonna bear me with that one. Yeah, so he's saying, yeah, it's just a list of people that he's supposedly offended with the, like, literally talking about a slur against gay people. Say he had a shirt that said "Socialism is for figs," but you get the idea.
Offended by the Che Guevara "Socialism is for Figs" T-shirt. I know that we should fight bad ideas with good ideas and respectfully debate the merits, virtues, and shortcomings of socialism, as opposed to merely mocking it with a hysterical T-shirt available at louderwithcrowdershop.com.
Yeah, so he's pretending to be apologetic with his kind of really dumb T-shirts. But anyway, that's all great, and they have decided, again, calling someone lispy queer does not violate the policies of YouTube. So that's good to know. Good to know. Maybe I might do that on my YouTube channel. No, just kidding. I would never do that because I'm actually a decent person that actually does care about debating ideas and merits and actually knows how to make jokes without using racial slurs or homophobic slurs and calling people Mexicans and queers and stuff like that. Yeah, I can actually do that because I understand comedy and I'm not a literally half-brained baboon like Steven Crowder is. Yeah, I like he's if you haven't heard of him, he's kind of a guy who's just really uncomfortable with the just idea of people being gay in general, likes to kind of make fun of it, thinks it's a very funny thing. And it's just it's very strange because there's a little like psychoanalysis there because he's just not a very smart guy. He's comes off with this very like dumb like masculine persona that he thinks he's like supposed to be all tough. Like one of his producers literally named Not Gay Jared, and he's just got that kind of guy. He's got that kind of feeling. It's just like he's not very comfortable in his own skin, which sucks. I hate to see that happen. Yeah, Trump called Bette Midler a washed-up psycho after she apologized for a fake quote attributed to him. So, yeah, sick scammer. So just that was a little awkward there. Just wanted to deliver that hilarious bit of news. Yeah, so we got that story. Also, a little bit of an interesting story here. Empire is not going to bring back actor Jussie Smollett, despite reports the show's writers have been preparing for his return, the series co-creator said Tuesday. Citing sources, Variety reported that Tuesday that writers have begun drawing up ideas in the expectation that Smollett would not return to the show in the latter half of the 18-episode season. But co-creator Lee Daniels quickly disputed the idea there are any plans to bring Smollett back, offering the first public confirmation that he's off the series for good, telling Variety that. So, yeah. So, finally, a little bit of a disturbing story. A top U.S. Cardinal Daniel DiNardo, who is in charge of the U.S. Catholic Church's response to sexual abuse, has been accused of mishandling an allegation and protecting his deputy, the AP reports. Laura Pontikes, a 55-year-old Texas woman, said she turned to DiNardo to report that his deputy, Monsignor Frank Rossi, had taken advantage of her sexually after she sought spiritual guidance. DiNardo is the head of the Galveston-Houston Archdiocese and president of the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, said that he has assured Pontikes that Rossi would never pastor or counsel a woman again. Pontikes later found out that her alleged abuser had been reinstated as a pastor at a parish just 2 hours away, she told the AP. When Pontikes' husband confronted DiNardo. He reportedly said the Archdiocese would respond aggressively to any legal action they might pursue. Pontifex claims that Rossi